What's up, you beauties? Welcome to HW 3.41. I'm Jim, and I'm joined by guest host for the episode, Johnny M., better known to you as Flyers Johnny, and we'll be joined by our special guest later on in the show. If you're not listening live, please make sure to subscribe, follow, and listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Spreaker. Quick shout out to our affiliate sites, fullpresscoverage.com and bellyupsports.com. Belly Up Sports recently updated their site. Go check it out during the episode. They have everything you need when it comes to sports. They do what the others don't. While you're listening to our episode, check out our site, hwhockey.net. All right, so Johnny, it's been a while since we had you on. I think the last time we had you on, was it the show
Before
with Josh?
the season. Yeah.
Yeah, man. So it's been a while, dude, and a lot's happened since we last talked. I don't even want to get into the Flyers because it would just be a whole mess of a show.
Yeah, I'd rather not.
Yeah.
I'd rather be happy.
Yeah, let's talk about something that, I think makes us happy, and that's the NHL playoffs, man. A lot's gone down. We made our predictions for the first round. We have predictions for the second round. But talk about your experience so far watching the playoffs. Is it everything you've hoped it would be so far?
Absolutely. This is the first time I've enjoyed the playoffs this much with the Flyers not in. I mean, it's been awesome. It's been kind of back to normal. It's been a lot more fun watching the games, obviously, with the fans in the stands. But the Canadian series have been very entertaining too.
Yeah, so let's talk about the Canadian series, and let's start with the Montreal-Toronto one, dude. And I don't know if anybody...
Did anything happen in that series yet?
Yeah, right? I mean, who saw that coming besides everybody, apparently? I mean, Toronto's up 3-1 in the series, and they end up losing. And it's like they didn't show up basically for 3 games. Even game 7, it's like they didn't show up, man. Carey Price shut them down. Did not expect that. I think everybody in our group had that series going to Toronto, including me and you. Surprisingly, because we're always right. But
yeah, right.
What did you think, man? Did that series live up to everything for you? Did it live up to your expectations, or did it exceed them?
I'm not gonna lie, you kind of have to. I kind of found a little satisfaction in the outcome. I love it. I love the Canadians winning, even though I was wrong. I love the Canadians winning that series. I'm a big Carey Price fan, so thought that was awesome. It kind of just keeps teasing the Toronto Maple Leafs a little bit, which is, I mean, I don't know how long it's gonna keep going, but as long as it keeps going, I'm entertained. So
yeah, and you know what? I don't know how I feel about this either. So I have 2 thoughts on this. If Toronto wins a cup, the Flyers then become the longest team that has gone without a cup win. On the other side of that is, well, if the Flyers are the longest team in the NHL without a Stanley Cup, doesn't that put even more pressure on the organization to go win a cup?
No. I mean, honestly, I don't know. I just want change. It's been the same flat Flyers organization over the past decade, and if I don't know how much that's going to change or motivate this team to do something different, but I mean it's good to be wishful thinking in that regard, but I mean it's just so hard to be optimistic as long as things stay status quo and nothing really changes. And I don't know. I don't want to get into it, but it is what it is.
You sound stiff, and before this. Remember how excited we were during that show?
Oh,
this
man,
and that was going to be great.
Excited. Yeah, back then, you couldn't find enough to talk about how good this team was, and their depth and how Provorov and Carter Hart were going to have great breakout years. I mean, Provorov did have a Provorov year, but
yeah,
outside that, it was it was just a lot too.
That might be something I do.
Unpack.
I might splice that old episode with this one on a
please
podcast.
Do. Honestly, please do.
I don't know if it'll be funny or if we'll just end up crying because we were so excited.
A little bit of both. Emotion's good.
Yeah. But yeah, so Montreal advanced. They end up beating Winnipeg last night, which I don't think was a shocker to myself. I had picked Montreal to win that game. We're going to get to the hit in a little bit. We're absolutely going to talk to that. Our guest, Jim Dowd, is going to join us. He had some things to say on our IG account, the video we posted. So I figured let's get him on, our good buddy, and let's talk about it. So he had some strong opinions. The other series going on, they played last night, Colorado and Vegas. I think everybody had Colorado and Vegas coming out of those 2 first-round series. What are your thoughts on this series?
I mean, Colorado looks everything they're as advertised. I mean, that's just It's kind of ridiculous. I just said this like a few hours ago, but they still have they have Newhook that's playing, and they still have Bo and Byram.
Yeah.
Like this is like I don't think Landeskog is going to go anywhere at the end of the year too, and that core is still like they're all like when you look at McCarr and McKinnon and Rantanen, like they're all young. Like it's absolutely absurd what they're able to do. But I don't know. This is one series besides the Islanders and the Bruins series that I'm particularly looking forward to, just due to the fact that I think last night was entertaining, the overtime game. The first game obviously a blowout. I don't know what happened there, but I'm rooting for Marc-Andre Fleury, but it's I don't know how possible that is with how good the Avalanche are looking right now.
Yeah, it's going to be a hell of a series. I was surprised by how that first game went, and then I think what we saw last night was more of what I expected, more close-knit hockey, 1-goal game, overtime, multiple overtime, whatever. And I'm hoping we see more of that. I would like to see the Avalanche win that series. Let's check out some of our predictions here. I don't think I posted these up yet, but we have Adam has Colorado in 6. Our buddy Steve has Colorado in 6. Josh has Colorado in 6. Kyle has Vegas in 7. You have Colorado in 6, and Jack has Colorado in 6. So I'm going to do the same. I'm going to go Colorado in 6. I will say, the longer this series goes on for Colorado, if it does go 7 games, then I think I'd have to go with Kyle and say I think Vegas is going to pull this one out. I think the longer this series goes on, the more it hurts Colorado.
I can get on board with that. I agree with that. I mean, right now it looks like it might be tough to get to 6. Maybe. Yeah. I mean, I think at least 5 it's going to go. Yeah. Like Vegas is obviously going to get one. Like it's like the cliche saying is like the series doesn't start until the home team loses. Right. So, we'll see over the next 2 games how Vegas fares at home, because they have one of the stronger home ice advantages.
For sure. So speaking of losing at home, the New York Islanders won a game in overtime the other night. They're obviously playing tonight against the Boston Bruins. What are your thoughts on this series, man? This is going to be a hell of a series. Both teams sort of evenly matched. They kind of play the same brand of hockey. Do you think it's going to come down to the perfection line? What do you think?
Absolutely, but I think the Islanders are so suited to shut down that top line, given they still have been productive through the first 2 games. But if there's anyone that's going to neutralize them, I feel like it's the New York Islanders style of play. I mean, speaking like I hate the Bruins. I mean, that's like I think they're my least favorite NHL team, even when you factor in the Penguins and the Rangers.
Why? Wait, where does that come from?
It's just all in. Oh my goodness, it's like. At least I can respect Sidney Crosby and how great he is.
Yeah.
Well, because think about it, I hated the Penguins it's almost a decade ago, since 2012. Like it's ridiculous to say, but it's true. At least you can look at Sidney Crosby. Wow, that's a great. But Marchand will forever just irritate me. I feel like that's just one guy. I guess he's compared to Malkin in that retrospect in my mind. But I mean, their fans, their players, Cassidy, Jack Edwards. Goalhorn, Bergeron automatically getting a Selke nomination every year just by magic. I don't
know. They do have a scumbag fan
base,
don't they? Aren't they kind of scummy?
I mean, that's the pot calling the kettle black, but but I mean, the only thing I will say, I do love Charlie McAvoy. He is I think my favorite non-flyer defenseman in the entire NHL. So I will give him that, but I'm really pulling for the Islanders. What I'm really excited for is definitely the goaltending. I mean, Tuukka Rask has been phenomenal. Sorokin's been unreal. Varlamov has also been good when called upon. I mean, the Islanders aren't the funnest team. I think that's been a cliche for them over the past couple of years, but their slow pace kind of make the opponents play their game, which I think plays very well against the Boston Bruins.
Yeah, you make good points. I don't like Boston either. I'm not a big Brad Marchand fan. I can't really say I like anybody on their team, to be honest with you. And what I find weird is the New York Islanders. I don't really like any team in the Flyers division, and I don't like the Islanders, but I have a hard time hating the Islanders. As much as they can be boring to watch, I still appreciate the way that they play because, like you said, they're making you play their game, which is a hard thing to do. So I think I'm rooting. I don't know if rooting's the right word. I'm more rooting for Boston to lose than I am the Islanders to win this series.
That's a good way of putting it. Yeah.
Like if New York gets, go ahead.
No. Yeah. I mean, like, what's it called? Just to speak to what you said, is like, yeah, you don't hate the Islanders, but I feel like they're just that one team that the Flyers just never really had a rivalry with. And that's why you can't, because the Rangers, obviously you hate, Penguins you hate, Devils was always a rivalry. And like whenever we met in the first or second round over that stretch of periods in the late 2000s, and like maybe even early 2000s too, I can't remember, and the Capitals, obviously, it's just the Islanders, that one team I don't think that you really have a strong emotional tie to, which makes them, you don't really root against them actively, but you just, like you said before, like you just root for Boston to lose. At least I do. Anytime.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's because, like you said, growing up, I never really hated the Islanders. Like the Flyers, when I was younger, they used to just trash the Islanders whenever they played them. I remember Chara on the Islanders. I remember Palffy, DiPietro. Like, come on, like these guys stunk. So I never really had a hatred for
the Rick DiPietro contract is still going on, by the way.
Yeah, I saw that, dude. What a joke, man. That's crazy.
It's ridiculous. 15-year that contract was, I believe, if I recall correctly.
Shit, man. Yeah, that's insane, dude. So let's get to some of our predictions here. You picked the Islanders in 7, which I think is a pretty good pick. Jack has Boston in 6. Kyle has the Islanders in 6. Josh has Bruins in 5. Very interesting there. We got to talk to Josh and see what's up with that. Steve has Bruins in 7. Adam has Bruins in 6. And who's left? Me? Oof. I'm gonna go Islanders in 6.
I think despite what happens and who wins, I definitely think this is going 7.
Yeah. You could see that. You could see 7.
Yeah. Definitely not 5. Definitely not 5.
Yeah. Let's and I kind of, it's like one of those series where you hope it goes longer, 6 and 7, because these guys are going to beat each other up, right?
Right, and that's kind of my wishful thinking with the Vegas Avalanche series. Like I like the way Vegas. I think the team with the funner atmosphere, or with the more fun like home ice advantage, that creates like a reckless atmosphere. That's the fun game to watch for me. I just love, like, honestly, it's more so like the fans make it more. I don't know, like more of a rivalry game, more intense, more.
Yeah, there's a hatred
like playoff
there.
Hockey atmosphere.
Yeah, I agree. So our buddy Amadeo, Bruins win this in 7, which we not Amadeo, but yeah, we could easily see that happening.
I can agree with 7. I just don't know who generally would win. Who has home ice event? Bruins have home ice, right? No, Isles have home ice.
Do they?
At the Coliseum, Game 7, that's going to be tough.
Yeah, that'll be tough to beat.
I think I like my Islanders in 7 pick. If that's the case.
Yeah, it's a good pick. Safe pick, I think, for this. If you go 7, it's kind of like, oh yeah, I lost a coin flip, basically.
Right.
7's always a safe pick, I feel like. All right, now let's move on to. We talked about Winnipeg Montreal a little bit. This is a series I think could go either way. If we're going to see an upset, in my opinion, it's going to be this one. What do you think?
I mean, I personally think it would be really good for hockey to see the Canadiens in the Western Conference Final. It feels weird to say Western Conference Final. They're normally an Eastern team, but I would love nothing more than to see Carey Price and the Canadiens in the final, or in the Western Conference Finals. I think that would be really awesome, because it just goes to show. I think I remember like someone said on Twitter that that $10.5 million goaltender just shut down $48 million worth of forwards on the Maple Leafs, and I thought that spoke volumes. Like, I love that. Yeah. I love that so much, I'm a huge Carey Price fan, like I said before, and I would just love to see him, not like selling off in the sunset, because I don't. Obviously, he's a little bit on the not younger side, but not
you want him to
old
get
enough
one,
to retire. I want him to get one. I would love for him to get one, despite seeing the Canadiens succeed. I would love him to get one. Him personally,
yeah, and
not the Canadiens.
Yeah. And I think that's okay. For whatever reason, when I think Montreal, it's like, man, they've already won so much. They've already had so much success in the past. They don't need any more success. But it's been since what, 1993, 92, since they last won anything.
Got to be a Stan Bowman team, yeah.
It's been almost 30 years. So it's kind of like, like this generation of Montreal fans, not that they've suffered like we have, But it's
no one suffered like we have.
Yeah, they haven't won.
That's a lie. That's a lie. That's a lie. But we have. Just go.
Yeah. So Amadeo here also has Montreal winning the series, which is interesting. I said it before the season about Montreal, and I don't like to toot my own horn, as everybody knows, but Montreal was built for the playoffs. They were building a team for the playoffs. They were just hoping to. What they had on paper, I thought, man, this team could struggle in the regular season, but if they get in, nobody wants to play them because they're built for this kind of hockey, And through the season, they acquired a couple of more vets, Eric Stahl, our good buddy Eric Gustafson, and by no means is he the kind of player that I'm talking about here, but
Corey Perry.
Corey Perry was and Corey Perry is like a sneaky, solid addition, right? He's not going to put up flashy regular season numbers, but if you need an overtime goal in a game 6, a game 7, whenever the hell he scored, whatever it was, he's your guy. You know that you can depend on him. He's a guy you can put in front of the goalie and get beat up to score. Which we looked at this Flyers team this year. JVR had a very solid year to start out. But they don't have many guys like that on this roster. And I'm not saying Corey Perry put the Flyers over the top. I'm just saying guys like him they can still provide positives for your team.
Right. I'm going off of memory here, so I might be making it like an obvious omission here. But do they have like that one score, like one like $8 million score on their team, or no?
Montreal?
I don't think they do. Yeah. I'm thinking in my head, they have Suzuki, who's young. They have Kotkaniemi, who's young. They have Cole Caulfield, who's young. Like, they got all these guys. They have Brendan Gallagher, but I don't think they have.
I can go check this out for you real quick. I'm not sure what Tyler Toffoli's making here.
Tyler Toffoli's probably not making more than 3 or 4. I actually think they got – did he go there as a free agent, or did he get traded?
I think he signed as a free agent from Vancouver. For whatever reason, didn't re-sign him. I'm not sure what the hell happened there.
I don't think he's making a lot of money. I think he's making probably a smaller short-term deal. So he didn't.
Yeah, you're right, dude. 4.25.
Yeah.
Wow. And he's signed for 4 years. Chuck Fletcher, make sure you remember that.
I think Carey Price is the only one that's making. Well, obviously the only one that's making over 10 because he's 10.5. But I don't think anyone else comes near that at all.
No, the next guy is Shea Weber at 7.85.
Shea Weber. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but everybody else is making 5 and under, man. So they have decent offensive depth in Josh Anderson, and that contract may come back to bite him at some point within the next 6-7 years. But Josh Anderson, Thomas Tatar, Tyler Toffoli, Brendan Gallagher, Paul Byron, is a decent player. Philip Dano, one of the best defensive centers in the league.
Petrie, right?
Yep, Jeff Petrie on defense. Joel Edmondson. They have towering
that was
defense
a great acquisition by them too. It's just like if they their defensemen are just so big to where they cover the ice. Like it's actually fun to watch because I think they have like Ben Sherratt too, if I recall too, or no.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they got these massive defensemen that just take up so much space, and it makes it hard for I guess fast wingers to get around them on the side too.
Yeah, man.
Like if they're
And I'm not trying to spin this in a Flyers direction here, but you bring in a guy like Joel Edmondson and Ben Sherratt, you're not paying them to score goals. You're paying them to play D, and they might complement guys like Travis Sanheim, or I'm not saying they're top pair guys, but they may complement an Ivan Provorov. And Bergevin was able to sign them for $3.5 million a year. So Edmondson's signed for 4 more seasons, and Sherratt is signed for another year after this year, and they're making 3.5 a year. So it can be done, and I think that's what I'm looking for. I know we all want to see the big splash, but it can be done. Just get the right pairing player to play with Sanheim Provorov, and they can be successful. A little bit off topic there.
Oh, no, it's all right. If you want to dive into potential guys, we can do that too. About helping the back end in the off season.
Yeah, why not? Amadeo, Boston up 1-0. Thanks, Amadeo. Yeah, go ahead, man.
Come on. I don't know. I was just there's a lot of talk about Seth
Well,
Jones.
who do you like? Yes, you like Seth Jones?
I like everyone. I like improvement, Jim. I love improvement. That's what I want. I want effort from our general manager to make any move. Ryan Ellis, Matthias Ekholm, Dougie Hamilton, I will take anything.
It's
just something like frustrates me more than anything is just status quo. Don't do anything. I mean, I don't know. Just any of them. Honestly, I don't care what. I don't crazy? Care. Yeah, go for it.
So what you just said is somewhat refreshing, because what you see a lot of today. It's like
scared to make any trades, scared to trade a prospect.
Yeah, or even like fan opinions.
Forbid we have 5 draft picks instead of 7 one year.
Right. Yeah. It's like, well, I want Dougie Hamilton, and then somebody comes out with, well, here's why he sucks. This is the guy we need. You know what I mean? It's like,
accurate.
Dougie Hamilton doesn't suck. He's just not the guy you want. It's like I'm the same boat you're in here. If they get Dougie Hamilton, I'm happy. If they get Ryan Ellis, I'm happy. If they get Seth Jones, I'm happy. Like you said, just get a guy. So I found that a little bit refreshing, because
just a little effort from the office. Like, that's all I want. Like,
exactly.
If I rather so much get burned later for making a move to improve now, because our window is so tight right now, to where we have our better players getting far older, and it's just we do not have that time that we thought we had 5 years ago. Like, Giroux's career is productive years. I mean, who knows? Like, maybe he can be an anomaly, but statistically, you can expect him to kind of decrease in production like over the next 5 years. Yeah. If we don't make a move now, there's no better time to make a move than right. Oh, I would have been 2 years ago or last season, but speaking retrospectively, it would be right now. And if we don't make that move now, then I don't know. I'm not a blow it up guy. And I'm also just very anti-rebuild, just due to the fact that we've waited like so long for prospects to become something that they just haven't been. And I just rather not bank on doing that again.
So a couple things here that I agree with. The rebuild thing, hell no. Right? Mm-hmm. I forget who I was having this conversation with a couple weeks ago, but the Boston Bruins, when's the last time they rebuilt, dude? When they traded Joe Thornton? Like, when's the last time they were bad, right? They're always in the playoffs, always in it. And hey, it's the cap for everybody. They were able to trade for Taylor Hall. You know what I mean? It's like they're able to go out and get good players. They just lost Torrey Krug, and, no sweat. And their captain, no sweat. They're right back in the playoffs. They're in the second round of the playoffs. But Flyers, like, we have to nitpick every little thing. And, Hextall had his chance to rebuild. He didn't go 100% into the rebuild because he kept Voracek, he kept Giroux. He was going to use them as his core players, I guess, and kind of add around his draft picks and whatnot. Well, he's not here. So, people want to say that Chuck Fletcher, cut the rebuild short, or I'm sorry, management cut the rebuild short, whatever it was. It was never a rebuild, right? Because you were in the playoffs 2 out of the 4 years. Right.
The thing that frustrates me, also, sorry to cut you off, but the thing that frustrates me about those years is we had such mediocre and bad teams. We weren't even bad enough to get Nolan Patch. We got that from the 11th pick down to the second pick.
And we should have never had.
We were never even bad enough to get a top 5 pick.
Right.
We were stuck with the middle of the draft, from ranging from Provorov, I think it's 7. Well, 7's, I'm not going to pick that one. But from 10 to 20, we always seem to find ourselves in that range. And that just, if you're going to try to build around prospects that can change the outlook, you better be, 1, really good at drafting and projecting those prospects, or 2, bank on getting a top 5 can't miss guy.
Yeah.
And we just didn't. I mean, it's they're so young still. I mean, Myers and Sanheim. It's just we expected something like them to take a step forward. They took a huge step back.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, a lot of deterring a lot of people from their progress, or from their expectation. But I'm so caught in the middle. I really need to be swayed one way or another in regards to that. But we definitely need to improve now.
Yeah, for sure. And I think they have, if Hextall gave us anything, it was the ammunition to make a big deal, to bring in players that can play now, and people get upset over that because hey, it's not the it's a cap era now and blah blah blah. But it's like, what do you want? Because not every single one of these guys is going to pan out, and your roster is not big enough to fit them all. So you're going to have to move them, or you're just going to start losing these guys.
Right.
This offseason may be the biggest offseason since the cap. Since what the hell was it called? The lockout. The year after the lockout when they went after and got
2013 or something.
Yeah, hard.
No, you're talking about the first, like in 2005.
Yeah, it may be the biggest offseason since then. Yeah,
2007.
It's time to retool. It's time to get some guys on the roster. They wasted Giroux's prime, and you could throw Voracek in there too.
Easily.
The only, imagine. So the Flyers made the playoffs 2 out of the 4 years under Hackstall with that friggin' roster. That was because of Giroux. Imagine if he had a roster around him, they would have been competing for the Stanley Cup. And okay, whose fault is that? Well, that's your GM's fault, right?
Yeah, for not having some foresight. Yeah,
he's 1 foot in and 1 foot out. Like rebuild or go for the cup, dude. But instead, he's mediocre, and that's kind of still where we are. And it kind of blew up in their face a little bit.
Yeah, like I said before, I'm all in on getting that improvement right now. That big name. It doesn't have to be just improvement, just anywhere. Depth, toughness, obviously, as I've been pretty vocal about. But I'm in the boat where, if we're at 13 this year, we have to make a choice. Or actually, I honestly don't think it's that hard of a choice. 13, we either have access to one of the best snipers in the draft, or we trade that pick. And I think you made the point earlier. We just signed Urson to like an ELC. You said he could be a trade chip. Like literally, I'm so done with waiting for prospects and draft picks. I am over that 100%. Like full throttle. Morgan Frost, goodbye. Like honestly, like I'm. Sucks to say, but I'm over that hill.
Well, the only reason it sucks is because you had hopes for Morgan Frost. Like it doesn't suck because you've seen him play and it can be this, because he hasn't really played for the Flyers. I don't know. I don't know if I'm there yet, but I also wouldn't. I'm not going to cry if you trade Morgan Frost if it means bringing a top 6, winger or center or something. You know what I mean? Or a top 4D. I'm not going to lose sleep over Morgan Frost. He never did anything for the Flyers. If he's going to be good, let him be somewhere else, and let's bring in a guy that can win for us now. That's how I am with a lot of these guys, and it's nothing against these players, but you can toss Shane Gostisbehere into that mix, even though he had a decent year this year. You can toss Nolan Patrick into that mix.
You know what the Morgan Frost thing kind of reminds me of, and it's going to make my point look a lot worse by trading him, is he reminds me of the situation with Patrick Sharp.
Okay.
We had him and we traded him to Chicago. Is he didn't want to wait around for him. There wasn't a spot in center for him. So you trade him, you cut your losses. You don't really get a big return for him. Turns out to be a huge contributor to a team. Granted, he was a part of it. He wasn't the part, but still he turned out to be a very productive player in the league. Like I said before, I'm willing to make that sacrifice right now. Like I will go on the record as to saying that. Like I'd rather not sit back and potentially see him not be what we expect him to be.
Yeah.
And I don't even know what people are expecting to be a top 6 forward. Like
I don't know either.
You really don't know at this point.
No, he can't. He's not the biggest guy. No, this is not a slight to, smaller dudes, because he's not exactly a small guy, but he needs to put on some hockey weight. He needs to, grow into his man body over here, if you will. Just so he can stay in games. I think Morgan Frost is going to be a good NHL player. I know a lot of people on Twitter have soured on him and whatnot. I think he's a 50, 60-point guy. He just needs the opportunity to play. And I'm not sure where you'd put him on this Flyers roster. He's not a bottom 6 guy, so he's not going to put up 50 to 60 points on a bottom line role. So you have to find a spot for him. And I think, what is he, 22 still? He still has some growing to do. He's not exactly that young anymore, It's like 18, 19, 20 is young for me. Once you hit 22, 23, it's like we should start to see something from you now,
Right. And yeah, like, I don't know, Chuck needs to just get his guy at any means necessary. Just get his guy. Like, honestly, like that's, I think I've said enough about it already, but like at the same point, like I can't wait on more prospects to come up, be really excited about them,
Yeah.
And then ultimately be disappointed in the end. Although as exciting as it may be to have those guys, like you look like a good example, I feel like this is Boston. Like they don't have highly advertised prospects that come up through the system. They have role guys that continue to come up, filter that bottom six, filter their bottom pairing D, and be productive. Like Grizzlick, Heinen, Travis Frederick. He's not great, but like he's a role player that is productive. I think Travis Frederick was a first round pick, like 29th overall or something like that, in one of the, like 2015 or something like that. But those type of guys that are able to step in and still be contributors to like a larger picture while you still have your top six guys that are productive means is just as important, if you ask me.
I agree. Yeah, the Flyers have some of those kids that can come up. I think they just lack. I mean, we're seeing it in the playoffs. You're only as good as your best players. We saw it with Toronto. Their best players didn't perform. They didn't advance. Montreal's best players showed up. They advanced. Think about who the Flyers' best players are right now. Right now there are a couple guys that are over 30 years old. Claude Giroux, Jake Voracek. One only had 9 goals this year, both making $8+ million. They're not going to beat, Steven Stamkos, Nikita Kucherov, take your pick, Nathan McKinnon, Mikko Rantanen. They're not going to beat those guys. They're not better than them. So they need to find a way to acquire more talent. Before our guest comes on, I just want to get to one more series. Let's get to Amadeo's question over here as well. Do you think Tampa will be forced to trade a good player with how over the cap they are? I hope so.
I think they do. I think they might have an expiring contract. I think Cirelli might be an expiring contract.
Oh, that's interesting. He was getting some Selke votes last year.
Wasn't that Point?
It may have been. I thought Cirelli was their Selke guy.
The mix up too. So let's see.
Yeah, they have so many guys that are just up for awards. It's easy.
Yeah, right. They're not. They're not special or anything.
No.
Wouldn't want any of those on my team. God forbid.
Who needs talent?
No, exactly. They only win cups, apparently. What's frustrating in my situation is my half my family's from Tampa, so they've won 2 cups in my lifetime. They beat us in 2004 to get their first cup. They won one last year.
Boy, so I'm 0-2. They get the Buccaneers down there. They got the Devil Rays going to the World Series. Spoiled down there, man.
Spoiled. Absolutely.
Must be nice.
Terrible.
So we have our guest the show. Go ahead.
No, go for it.
No, I think Jim's trying to get on the app here, the StreamYard app. Sometimes it could be a little difficult. So while we wait to get him on, we have one more series. That's the Tampa Bay series and Colorado. Oh, there's Jim. So we'll get to that series in a second. Let's get Jim on the show.
What's up, guys?
Yeah, how's it going, buddy?
Good, man. Got the Bruins-Islanders game on here. Just getting ready to watch some more hockey tonight. How you guys doing?
Doing great. I'm here with my buddy John.
What's up,
How's
John?
it going?
Good, man. Good.
Hey, I saw you doing big things with the Jim Dowd hockey camp up there.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, out of Middletown. Yeah, both my boys played for the New Jersey Titans, a local AAA organization. So helping out there still with some teams and doing some Jim Dowd hockey stuff, keeps me busy. It's all good,
awesome stuff, dude.
Help the kids out,
Hell yeah, absolutely. Doing great stuff. Hey, so saw your comment under the HW video earlier today of the Scheifele hit. Couldn't wait to get you on to talk about the hit. Seemed like you had some pointed opinions on there. Why don't you tell the people watching or listening what you thought about that hit?
I mean, there's so many different opinions going on, but I mean, come on. He was pissed off. Yeah. He skated from the tops of the other end circle as fast as he could. I mean, just drilled him. It's going to be a suspension, it's a matter of how long, you know what I mean? But charging, I mean, intent to injure,
What do you think about the guys out there saying that it's almost like they're trying to separate the hit from the entire play? What I'm finding is a lot of guys out there going, the hit's clean, but they're not taking into consideration, the strides that helped him gain the speed and, the impact that he met him with. Like, all that matters,
All of it matters. I mean, the bottom line is he was pissed off. They were losing, and he came back, and the puck was in the net. I mean, it's a charging, first of all. I mean, he skated from one guy I was listening today on the NHL Network or on Sirius. He skated that pass through 2 time zones, and he was pissed, and it was an attempt to hurt the guy. Whether he's ever been suspended before or not, it shouldn't matter. You know what I mean?
That's what I thought too.
I mean, it was a vicious hit. And correct me if I'm wrong here. They're trying to get those hits out of hockey, correct?
Yeah.
That's what they've been talking about, getting all that stuff out of hockey.
You wouldn't know that by the length of suspensions, though.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So it's a shame that it happened, first of all, you know what I mean? And but it'll be very interesting to see if he doesn't get suspended at all. I don't see that happening. It's just a matter of how many games, and it would be interesting if he comes back, during this series after what Petrie said.
Sounds like it just came out. It sounds like he's getting 4 games. Is that fair?
That's
could be the series.
Yeah, you never know. Yeah, you never know. I thought it was going to be 6 games because it was only game 1.
Yeah.
But yeah, and nobody's ever happy on either side. The Canadians probably want him out for the playoffs or at least 6 games. And Paul Maurice, what he said, he's trying to lower the boom on him as far as getting how many games from what his comments were. They weren't anything bad, just trying to protect his players.
To me, 4 games kind of shows that the league also thinks it was a pretty BS play.
I think that's pretty good, actually, to tell you the truth. I think it's pretty good.
Especially in the playoffs, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I mean, guys, he had 1 intent to run the guy over and hurt the guy.
Yep.
Simple as that. I mean, you don't skate all the way down the ice as fast. Reminds me of, what was it, my last year? Yeah, my last year, I was 7-8 with the Flyers. Remember Steve Downey in Ottawa?
Oh, against Ottawa.
Preseason. It actually should have been a penalty on Downey down in the other end. There should have been a penalty not on him, but against Ottawa. He was pissed. He skated all the way down the ice, came back, hit McCammon behind the net there. You know what I mean? Skated the whole length of the ice. He got 20 games for that.
So let me ask you here.
Well, think about that for a second. Why does he get 20 and this guy only get 4?
Playoffs, I guess. Does that factor in, you think?
Yeah, and whether you like it or not, I guess he's never been suspended before or whatever, but that shouldn't even matter. I mean, so you tell me I can go out and two-hand somebody right over the head baseball swing bat, and I've never done it before, so I'm not going to get 20 games. I'm only going to get 5.
Dude, I've said this too, because people want to use this kind of stuff with, for example, Tom Wilson in Washington, right? He's a different kind of player now. He does have a history, but I don't feel what you've done in the past should warrant the amount of games you get suspended now. Suspending more money, sure, but to say, oh, this guy doesn't have a history, so we can only give him 1 game or 2 games, that doesn't take away from how serious, the play was. If the play is worthy of 4 games, give him 4 games,
Yeah,
So,
and like I said, I think we're all in agreement that the NHL did a pretty good job on this one. And again, that's a tough job to have.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, who's it, George Paros now? And they have a committee, I'm sure. That's a really tough job because it's just like, I'm sure they were like, as soon as the hit happened, oh, geez, here we go again. Like,
give us a break,
it's
right?
a little job to have, really, to tell you the truth.
It is.
Because you can't win. Like I said, you're never going to please everybody.
Yeah.
But I think they got 4 games. I mean, heck, I'd like to see Montreal sweep them. I don't think that's going to happen, but, I played for Montreal. Loved that place. It was amazing playing for them. And after what they did in the first round, man.
Yeah, can you believe it?
For them.
Yeah,
Nobody
really.
was thinking they were going to win game 1 against Winnipeg.
No.
Nobody's thinking they're going to win this series. It's far from over. It's only 1 game. But Carey Price, man, they're protecting their home front pretty good. And the shame of it was Evans, he was in and out of the lineup the first series, got back in there, started playing great when they were down 3-1. He got back in. And that was his 25th birthday yesterday, too.
I know. I read that. I couldn't believe it. What a shame.
I heard that today, too, yeah.
Great. He was unbelievable penalty killer.
Yep.
I mean, hence the reason why I was on the ice at the end of the game there, too. But they got those young guys going, too, the 3 young guys. Suzuki, Katniemi, and Caulfield, like, breathing from life. And Gallagher's coming up big. I mean, they got a good little mixture right now. And
they do, and they got some big bodies out there, too.
Yeah, and they got the goalie that can do it. So I'd love to see them beat, Winnipeg. So it's going to be tough still. Now Winnipeg's going to rally around, hey, one of their best players, a captain, being out. So it makes for interesting stuff. But it'll be interesting.
Let me ask you, if you're a player.
So he'll be back for game 6 if there's a game 6.
Yeah.
Okay, this could be interesting if there is a game 6.
If you're on Scheifele's team and you see that hit, I mean, you saw it with Downey. What went through your mind? Like, how do you defend that? What's the next game like? What's it going to be like for the Jets?
it's one of those things. Nah, they get over it real quick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's one of those. It's just he just for whatever reason he was really pissed off and frustrated the whole game. Actually, Scheifele, it seemed like, but that's one of those you get over it, you move on. It's barely even talked about, if at all. It's your teammate, you back them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. When the hit happens, what goes through your mind? Like, oh shit! Like here we go.
Well, you know what? It happened so fast, and it's like it was pretty scary actually to see Evans down, knocked out. You know what I mean?
I can't remember the last time I've seen a hit like that. He completely steamrolled straight through him. I was like, oh my God, did I just see that? Is he dead?
And
it was instant too. Yeah, when he fell to the ice, he wasn't moving.
Oh yeah, he was gone. And when he came around, he was a right-handed shot, so he came around and he backhanded, and he knew that Scheifele was coming, so he backhanded and he sort of pulled up a little bit, put the puck in it stinks that the whole thing happened. Simple as that, man. You don't want anybody. Your worst enemy in the NHL, you don't want that to happen to.
No.
And I think that
I gotta believe you guys, everyone, you gotta believe Scheifele feels bad about it. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Right.
But yeah, man, Montreal, they locked it down. They played good. They got some big time goals, and they're a fun team to watch right now. Nobody's even talking about that series. Now they are.
Yeah.
That's true.
Tampa, the Islanders, Boston. No one was talking anything about the Jets or the Canadians, but one of them is going to be in the conference finals.
Your boy Connor Clifton's playing well up there, Jersey boy.
Yeah, man. For a couple years now, he's been in and out of the lineup, man. I get so pissed off, man, because me, I love the Jersey kids, man. Yeah, I love Jersey kids. I've been following them I've been telling people since 1987, 88 when I went to Lake Superior, my freshman year. I've been telling people how long ago was that? This many decades that there's good hockey players in Jersey.
Yep, they're starting to show up.
He's finally in the lineup all the time. It pissed me off big time when they took him out for Game 7. Was it last year or the year before?
I think it was last year.
Last year, and he played unbelievable. And then what's his name came back. He was hurt all plays, and they took Clifton out.
Was it Miller? Miller was hurt, and then he came back.
It was Miller, man, and they took Clifton out. He was playing amazing. Like he plays awesome all the time. He gives a spark. He's playing with Charlie. He can play with anybody. First, second, third set of D. He's a good, tough little player. Moves the puck, joins the rush. He's not great offensively. He's not great anyway. He does everything very well. I love him. It's a boot that he's a Jersey kid, but he's hard-nosed guy that every team needs, and it's good to watch him play. It's fun to watch him play. Actually watching him right now.
Yep.
Isn't Zegras on Anaheim from Jersey, or is he Long Island?
No, he's Long Island. Yep.
Long Island.
Yeah.
We'll take him though. He's a hell of a player, that kid.
Oh,
he's
yeah.
decent.
He's going to be fun to watch here in the next couple of years. Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we have our buddy Chris chiming in over here. I think he's talking about Montreal. He said they'll win right till Colorado gets them in games, and we'll be blowing them out with McKinnon and Landis Cup.
Colorado last night, they actually let Vegas back in that game last night.
They did.
They were all over them. Vegas had nothing going. Then all of a sudden, they let Vegas in the game, and then I think if they lost that game, it would have definitely turned into a series. But Colorado, I've never seen a team go that fast, that quick, every single shift.
All the time, man.
Unbelievable to watch them play. Their second power play unit, the first doesn't score. The second one goes out there, boom, 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 scores. And they're playing without Kadri.
Right.
Best third-line center and one of the best third-line centers in hockey.
Yep.
But they are fun to watch, man. They just go. Vegas looks slow, actually. They actually look slow against Colorado.
That's what we were saying. Colorado makes everybody look slow, dude.
Yeah. If they keep this pace up, they're 6-0 right now, man. Can you imagine if they
an undefeated playoffs? Does that ever happen?
Unreal, no, but unbelievable. That's incredible.
Yeah, they're fun to watch, man. When I watch, so during the year I was obviously watching Flyers, but after the Flyers are over, I watched the West Coast games, and it was always the Avalanche.
Headed Flyers, boys.
Dude, high hopes, dude. If they would have just sucked last year, it would have been better. This way we would have no hopes for this season.
I was about to say the expectation made it so much worse.
I know, man. They got us for a good start too. JVR gets back to form, man. Wasted a good.
Weren't we 7-2-1 to start the year?
7-2-1, man. JVR scored everything was going great, and the wheels fell off. I'm telling you, I tell everybody this. Halfway down Route 70, man, South Jersey and Philly, there's something in the water down there.
Yeah, I don't know what
people say they sold their soul to the devil for those first 2 cups, man.
Dude, I'm starting to believe it.
Down when they freaking win that next cup. When, not if, when.
Starting to believe it, dude. We were rooting for. I found myself rooting for Toronto at the beginning of the playoffs just because I wanted to see them win one. And then somebody had mentioned that, well, if Toronto wins, then the Flyers are the longest tenured team without a cup, and that wouldn't really be good. So it's like, oh, okay, I'll root against Toronto.
Crazy.
I mean, no matter how you phrase it,
right?
It's bad.
Yeah,
Isn't
50
it?
years, it's bad.
Yeah. The funniest thing was right after that Game 7 loss, all the things came out. 10 hours till they're the longest team without a Stanley Cup. You know, they overtake the Rangers.
Yep. Yeah,
No,
I can't believe it, man.
You know, and then everybody talking about get rid of Marner and this guy and that guy. Come on. You kidding
You can't
me?
get rid of Marner.
You don't get rid of Listen, Steve Yzerman went 10-plus years without a cup. He was getting 140, 150, 160 points a year. They were coming in last place, weren't even making the playoffs. And look how his career ended.
That's
20
true.
cups. He didn't have his first cup till after his 10th, 11th, or 12th year. Then he had 3 Stanley Cups. You know?
So what do you think Toronto's got to do, man? Do you think they run it back, or what else can they add to this roster?
Guys just get, sad to say. I mean, Wayne Simmons looks like,
did he slow down a little bit towards the end? Because they loved him in the beginning.
Spezza actually played really well.
Really well,
He was one of their better players, but you just got to keep going. It's not easy. I mean, think about it. There's going to be 32 teams now, right? So that's like, and it's tough to win a cup now. It's way tougher than it used to be because there's so many teams.
Yeah, there's way too many teams.
There was 6 teams. Then in 68, 69, then they bumped up to 12 teams, So think about it. There's 32 teams. If each team wins it once for the next 32 years, that's 32 years, 31 years of each team not winning the cup.
Yeah.
And it's not easy, man. I tell people, so easy to win a championship. Everybody would have a Little League championship. Think about it. Every town in America has a Little League.
Yeah.
Every single town. There's only one Little League champion a year in each town. How many people don't have a Little League championship? Hardly anybody. It's not easy to win. And you don't give up the farm for it, So there's no way you get rid of Marner. He's still learning, going through a phase. So was Austin Matthews. You could tell he was just beat. The Canadians just did a great job. They were down 3-1. They got some great team defense, great goaltending, timely goals, and a young, fragile, Maple Leafs team buckled.
They were fragile, man.
I just feel so bad for Jumbo. Literally so, because if there was any Maple Leafs, you'd have to think this was the team. And there are like people that were trying to blame Kyle Dubas for and I thought that was kind of absurd. Because right.
Go ahead.
No, because they add veterans like Foligno, Spezza, Thornton. They try to add some sandpaper with Wayne Simmons.
Yeah.
They already had the goal producers with Tavares, Nylander, Marner, Matthews. I mean, they're I don't think you can blame him for signing those guys to their RFA deals that they did, just due to the fact that if they weren't going to do it, someone else was.
Yeah.
And either one, he would have lost them for nothing, or two, he would have had to match a much higher offer from someone else. Yeah. And with the way they were projected, I mean, think about it. They had great regular season with Marner and Matthews did.
Yep.
It's just when it came down to, and I guess Nylander too, when it came down to it, they got 1 goal in 7 games.
And they were up 3-1, and Muzzin got hurt. That doesn't help. One of their best D. I mean, he got hurt. Didn't play Game 7, right?
Right.
He
was out. Yeah, Muzzin, Foligno, and Tavares were all out.
Yeah, I mean, come on. I mean, that's huge. Right? There's 3 guys right there that are 3 of their main guys.
And I was super happy for Jack Campbell, too. Super happy. Yeah. I've been a fan of his since the 2010 World Juniors. That's –
yeah,
I'm rooting hard for him.
Yeah. And you know what? The one thing, though, I'll tell you, I do not think that the coach did a good job in Game 6 in Montreal. That Marner line, he played their top line every other shift. He overplayed those guys.
That's probably why they were gassed for Game 7.
Look at the Boston Bruins, the Islanders, the Lightning. These guys, they all roll 4 lines. Yeah, there's their first line. The top guys get a little bit more ice time. Yeah, but you look at the Boston Bruins, Pasternak, after 2 periods, he'll have played 10 minutes, 10 and a half minutes. The guy scores every game too. You know what I mean? But look what they did. You go back and watch that Game 6. I couldn't believe it. Their 3rd and 4th line hardly hit the ice. The 4th line never hit the ice, and the 3rd line barely hit the ice. And talk about putting pressure on guys, young guys.
Yeah, it's true.
It's like now, the Tampa Bay Carolina game just started, but these guys roll lines. They got 6D. You don't win a Stanley Cup without playing everybody. Simple as that. Go back to the last team that freaking won a Stanley Cup without playing 4-line, 6D, and having a great backup goalie and guys that can come in and out of lineup. No problem. And play substantial minutes, not 4 minutes. It doesn't happen. I think that's hopefully, Sheldon Keefe, learns from his mistakes too. He's a young coach in the NHL. Hopefully he learns from it. That's the first thing I thought Game 6. I'm like, these guys are playing way too much. And then they were buckled for Game 7. They had no energy in Game 7. The Leafs had no energy in Game 7.
Nah, they were flat.
Yep.
Right. No, and I was just going to touch on if you're going to look at a team that rolls 4 lines, look at the Islanders. How often do you see Matt Martin on the ice? That's crazy.
Yeah. It's like I said, just take a look at the ice times for the Bruins. It's all spread out. Any team that goes deep in the playoffs and wins the Stanley Cup gets to the finals uses 4 lines, 6D. Simple as that. The Islanders start their 4th line every game pretty much. Matt Martin's, Zekas, and Clutterbuck.
That's a hell of a 4th line, a 3rd line. Yeah, holy shit, though.
Oh, yeah. And it's not that the Leafs didn't have a 4th line. I couldn't believe, again, going back to that, they were exhausted, as the game went on, But anyway,
all the chips in Game 6.
Guys, man. Everyone's talking, get rid of this guy, get rid of that guy. You just hang on. Ovechkin. How long did it take Ovechkin to win a cup? Over a decade. 12 years, right? A 12th or 13th year, right?
Yeah.
Finally gets his cup, you know what I mean? Now they have a legit chance every year. Well, they should have kept Trotz, it seems like.
That was a mistake, man. Maybe one of the biggest mistakes.
That's I don't know what happened there.
They didn't want to pay him or something, I guess, right?
There's something else to that nobody knows about. Who knows? There's something else. It's not just that.
Gotta be something.
Something else.
Sounds like Jim.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if it was something with him and Reardon's job. I don't even know. But
interesting.
How could you not lock that guy up? He's one of the best coaches record-wise. You look at him over the history of his career.
Yeah.
All his teams do well, and he gets a cup.
I was shocked, too.
And then they let him go. They lose they don't even make the playoffs the next year, right?
I think they may have lost in the first round.
I think they lost in the first round.
They've been past the first round since they let him go. It's been 2 years now, So.
Yeah, that's right. They lost this year, too. I forgot. Last year they were embarrassed in the bubble. Who did they lose to this year? I can't remember.
Lost 4-1 this year. The Bruins smoked them.
Oh, that's right. The Bruins. Yeah.
They won the first. No, Washington won the first game, and then they lost 4 in a row.
4 in a row.
Jesus. Yeah, I thought Laviolette was gonna change things up over there. He had him playing pretty decent during the regular season.
They're playing great in the regular season.
Yeah.
Guys, hey, we don't have to talk about it, but look at how many great teams, not good teams, great teams the Flyers have had in the last 20 years. And no cups. It's unbelievable how hard it is to win that Stanley Cup, man. I guess that's why when you do nowadays with the Capitals, you enjoy it like they did.
Yeah, dude, here's my thing, too. All right, all the years that they didn't win, at least they had a guy like Ovechkin to watch every game, right? Yeah. Where it's like the Flyers these days, and this is not I'm not trying to say anything negative about the players on the roster, but what player on the Flyers are you like, man, I'm going to turn on the Flyers game tonight because I want to watch this guy? What guy? They don't have that guy.
Yeah, they sort of miss it. And again, I love Giroux. You know what I mean? I love, he's a heck of a player, but you're right. They don't have that guy like, who you're going to go pay? Who's worth the money to go see? Pay
exactly.
Giroux in 2012 now.
Yeah.
Giroux in 2012 was
unbelievable, man. Like
that was must-watch TV because he had some snarl to his game then.
Yep. He's just
then he got more mature.
Yeah.
No more fun anymore.
He's a little banged up right now and whatever. And he's still a heck of a player though,
Maybe by mature you meant paid, Johnny.
Yeah.
It's funny how that happens.
Right?
Yeah, right. I think Jim was right there with especially you look at teams like 2004 and then even 2008 was a great team.
Yeah.
2008 and 2009 were both good teams. It's just you run into the Penguins.
Yeah.
With that roster.
Like I said, my last year was 07, 08. I think 06, 07, they came in 15th place, last place in the Eastern Conference, the Flyers. 07, 08, that's when I signed there. And, we had
one off season.
Great team. We went to the conference finals. Everything was going good. And then Tiemann got hurt. I think
was that the one where Carcillo fought Talbot?
No, Carcillo wasn't there. He was there. This was 07, 08, my last season. Excuse me. And I think Tiemann got hurt. He missed the whole Penguin series. Coburn got hurt. A couple injuries. I mean, you got to stay healthy. You got to be healthy. To win a cup too. And then, like I said, a couple years after that, they had that great run, and they lost Chicago in Game 6. That was a bummer.
I was at that game. That was tough.
Not to get to Game 7, man. That was a bummer, man. Then you got to worry about not only that, but how crazy everything is now. Everything's so fast nowadays. You know what I mean? And
I feel like you got to find that. Yeah, you got to find that. It's tough because, I think general managers don't get enough credit when they do their job properly nowadays, because it's so hard to find that equilibrium between speed and still toughness, to where the toughness is effective when they're not getting burnt by the opposition's speed. Yep. To find a quality shutdown third and fourth line goes such a long way in neutralizing, another
fourth line to chip in and score some goals too.
Absolutely, yeah.
You're right, GMs, man. Just think about it. Not only have to worry about putting a hot team together, they have to worry about what's going on off the ice, who's doing what, who this and that. There's so much stuff that goes into it that's just a nightmare for GMs and head coaches, And then you're dealing with, you're like a psychologist or whatever, You're dealing with different personalities, who's bitching and complaining. You got to just try to build the ultimate team concept, And the bottom line is, if your best players aren't your best players both on and off the ice, you have no chance of winning. I don't care what anybody says. Wow. No chance.
Huge bomb right there.
Zero chance of winning. If your best players aren't your best players both on and off the ice, no chance of winning. You might get far, but you're not going to win the championship.
That's an all-time quote right there. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be a clip. That's going to be an episode preview right there. Yep. Yeah, so if you've listened to our show in the past, listeners especially know that I've said something to the tune of that. And, I'm sure Jake Voracek's a great guy, and I'm not going to put you on the spot, Jim, but he's been a guy that I've been looking at as, he's one of the Flyers' best players, but if you put him up against any other team's best player, he's not better than them. We've heard stuff about him off ice last year in the bubble or this year, whatever it may be. And it's like, I don't know, this guy's not really a guy that I want leading this team, on the ice or off the ice. And like I said, heard he's a great guy. There's just things that we've seen and heard as fans that kind of rub me personally the wrong way. I may be completely off base. This is just my opinion, but he's a guy I think has to, be moved if the Flyers are going to be successful. And I'm just curious to hear, what you think, or if there's anyone that comes to mind for you in the past where you're like, we're not going to win as long as this guy is on the team or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know him personally. Hey, when he's on, he's on. You know what I mean? And when he's clicking, he's going. He puts points up, and he can help you win games. But you're right. The Flyers are missing this couple. You're thinking that the goaltending situation, we thought it was taken care of, right?
Yeah.
Now that's sort of still up in the air, even though we truly believe that Hart's the guy, right? But still, who's their number one D, their number one stud defenseman? And who, like you said just before, who's the guy that you're going to pay to go see play? You know what I mean? It's not Voracek, it's not Giroux. I love those guys as players, but they're missing that Joe Sakic type. You know what I mean?
Right. You're not going to pay $120 a ticket to go watch Jake Voracek and his 45 assists. You know what I mean?
And his slingshot pass.
Yeah.
Right.
They definitely. I don't know if they've gotten rid of Hextall. Look where they're at. They're in just as bad a shape, probably worse shape now, because they get rid of Hextall. He wasn't going to give up the house, right? He's the one that helped build the Kings into a powerhouse with Dean Lombardi. Yeah. Everybody knows that he was out there. They called him the Flyers West out there, right? He built that organization with Dean Lombardi, and he comes in. He wasn't going to sell the farm, right, for the future for now. And then they get rid of him. They signed Van Riemsdyk to a 7-year deal, which I didn't mind because he's JVR, you know what I mean? Plus, I thought he still have some good years in him. Yeah. Hayes, they're signing guys at $7 million. It's like, it's just they're definitely missing, a number one defenseman stud and a number one center stud right now, and a couple other guys that are right below that. Look at Tampa, man.
Oh my God, no!
They got Braden Point, they got Kucherov, they got Stamkos. Just the list goes. They got Hedman, it goes on. They got Vasilevsky. They got a legit number one goalie, one of the best in the world. They got a legit number one D. Hedman was probably the best defenseman in the world right now, give or take.
Mm-hmm.
A couple other guys, and you got Kucherov, Stamkos, Point. There you go. They're all worth the admission, $150 a ticket to go watch play.
Yeah. I would easily buy season
we're
tickets
missing
to
a
watch
couple
the
guys
Lightning, man. Are you
right
kidding
now.
me?
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's unbelievable. And then, then they have this. They've had the same coach for a while. You know, think about how long Cooper's been there.
There's been stability.
A while.
Yeah, they know what they want to do. They're there to win.
Yeah, I'm still confused about the Flyers coaching staff too. You got
interesting
on the bench.
You got 3 head coaches.
Yeah, it's like that didn't make any sense to me. I'm still wondering where the connection is with Vigneault.
Let me ask you, if you're a player and you got 3 head coaches like that, I mean, the game's changed a little bit. The style of player, the personality of the players has changed a little bit. You go out and get Alain Vigneault and you bring in Michel Therrien. Those are 2 kind of old school, if you will, coaches.
Yeah.
If you're a player in that locker room, are you like, F this? I'm not going to take any of this guy's shit. Or are you like, all right, this guy's been around the block. Like, let's do what he says.
No, I think for the most part, everyone's on the same page. That would have came out already. You know what I mean? The bottom line, whether they're old school, new school, whatever, everyone's in it for the same reasons. And if you get everybody on the same page, you have a chance.
Yeah.
That's where it starts, But yeah, to me, it's a confusing coaching staff. Where's Mike Yao fit in there, right? I mean, where's the connection there? I have no idea. Therrien.
Chuck Fletcher, maybe.
He's been all over the place, Therrien. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Not that all the coaches haven't, but
yeah,
it's a weird mixture is the bottom line, and you just got to stick with it. It takes time, man. Again, look at the Carolina Hurricanes, man. Rob Brind'Amour had a game plan with Ron Francis in there. They stick with it, so they're having some success. You know what I mean? I don't think they're there yet. You know what I mean? But we'll find out. But and Brind'Amour, he's probably a combination of old school and new school. As a coach.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Rod the Bod. He's a free agent potentially after this year.
Let's get one thing straight. When the Flyers traded him back, I'm like, what, man? He was when I was playing. I'm like, that trade doesn't make any sense, but that's a whole nother subject.
Well, we could save that for the next show if you want, because there's some things we don't really know about that.
But like I said, I was at Lake State my sophomore year. I remember he came into Michigan State as a freshman. All of it was from this Rod Brind'Amour kid. Just got drafted 7th overall by the St. Louis Blues. I was excited as hell to play against him. Played against him, then right after his last game as freshman, he's in the playoffs playing with the Blues.
How crazy is that, man? Just like that.
Yeah, that guy. That's a guy you want your kid to. If you want to have a role model as far as an athlete goes, right there, man. All hard work, discipline, did everything well, and he's taking it into his coaching career too.
Hey, speaking of kids,
they have a lot of young guys there. Yeah.
Oh man, and they just go nonstop, man. That's how Brind'Amour was, nonstop. Good at both ends of the ice. Take care of everything and just go play hockey the right way. Be on the defensive side of the puck, make plays, get the puck in at the blue lines, get it out at the blue lines, and go. They're fun to watch,
Very much.
I'll be surprised if they don't. If they don't win tonight, that's going to be interesting.
I always find it interesting the way the team takes on the personality of the coach, and when you can see it, like for example, Rod Brind'Amour and his team.
Yeah.
There,
Oh yeah,
it's a good way of putting it. Yeah.
Hey, speaking of kids, how did your boys do this year?
Good. My oldest son finished his freshman year at Penn State. Oh, they pretty much had their whole season. It was rocking and rolling the whole way through. First 20 games, and then they got shut down. And then for a little bit, and then they played the Big Ten tournament. They beat Notre Dame the first game, which was awesome, and then they lost to Wisconsin in the semifinals in overtime.
Wow.
And then right after that, he got an early invite to the Tampa Bay Lightning Player Development Camp this summer. So
holy shit!
And then my youngest son, Anthony, he's with Chicago Steel. They just won the championship down there. He's only a senior in high school. Right? Yeah, that's the USHL. Yep, yeah. So the 3 best junior leagues in the U.S. are the USHL, which is the United States Hockey League, then the North American Hockey League, and then the NCDC. So he was with the Steel this year. He was only a senior in high school, so sort of had to put his time in, and they ended up winning the whole thing. So he goes back there one more year, then he's committed to Providence. So he'll be a freshman at Providence when Jimmy's a junior at Penn State. So they're doing great.
Absolutely. Sounds like they're doing pretty good, man. You got to be proud.
Yeah, it's great. It's fun to watch. I coached them all. I never forget. So 7-8 Flyers, we lose out. Go to the conference finals. I'm 40 years old. I'm thinking I had a great role. It was me, Kapanen, and Riley Cote on the 4th line. Me and Kapanen killed all the penalties. We pretty much got a regular shift. Took a ton of face-offs. I'm thinking we go to the conference finals, I can squeak another year out here at 41. So I went to camp again, went out of contract. It didn't work out, but I'll never forget. because our training camp was in Voorhees. Homer calls me in, Paul Holmgren. I'm like, it's like, I'm like, I look back on it. I sort of didn't work out that hard that summer. No big deal. I went right from Voorhees to, I think it was Iceline in Westchester, PA. I went right to coaching my son, Jimmy. Yeah. And it was so great to coach my boys all the way up. And now to see what they're doing is awesome. Now I'm just a hockey dad. Happy hockey dad.
That's awesome.
I actually just graduated from Penn State too.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So
yeah, great up there.
My youngest son actually, we knew if he made the USHL this year, it'd be like, a whole developmental year. He wouldn't be playing all the time, but he'd get his moments. And he just plugged away, worked hard, and actually Team USA called him up for a month at the end of the year. It was great. So he played with the NTDP that month. It was awesome to see him out in the USA hockey jersey. So, yeah, just a happy hockey dad. That's all I am now.
I was going to say, do you look how happy you are?
A happy hockey dad.
I can feel it coming through the screen over here. You're proud. That's good for you, man.
As Chris Chelios once said, all roads lead to the beer league.
Oh, man. So we're just about over an hour on the show. I don't want to hold you guys too long. I gotta let you get to the games on tonight. Jim, thanks for hanging out with us, man. What do you have going on? You have anything you want to promote? I could see you on Instagram. You're a busy guy over there.
Yeah, no, I just got, people have been all over me about some spring hockey stuff. So I'm doing a couple spring teams. I'm launching a website soon called jimdowdhockey.com. It's
awesome.
Not launched yet. I'm building a beautiful website. It's going to be basically free advice for people. For those of you who don't know my story, I'm pretty much the first New Jersey native ever to do what I did. I just grew up in Brick, New Jersey, playing local Brick Hockey Club, Brick High School, never left. Got a full ride to Lake State my senior year, drafted by the Devils, and it's just youth sports in general is crazy now. And everyone's so stressed out, the parents, the kids. So I'm starting jimdowdhockey.com website. It's going to be an informational site, with all my trainings and stuff on as well. But it's more so people can ask me questions and I can guide them the right way, because I will not give people the wrong advice. Even people around here that I've, tried to get on my teams before, I tell them, listen, even if you never come play for me, I'll give you the right advice. There's so many people out there just giving wrong advice, bad advice. Everyone's so stressed out, and it's just a way to help people. You know what I mean? Like, because if you can help one family, that's great, because just people just get snowballed by, oh, your son's going to this, you're going to do that. And they, it's not about that. But that's my main focus. I got my nutrition business that I've had for 7 years now. My wife and I have been into that big time. And, just doing my thing at the rink. The New Jersey Titans youth organization, that's where both my boys play it out of. So I'm coaching a couple teams there. I'm doing 16U AA, 18U AA short seasons because I could do that. And then a little guys team, helping them build a little guys program. It's my way of giving back. You know what I mean?
Awesome, dude.
Both of my boys, got scholarships out of there. So, and I've known them forever. George Haviland's the owner. He started it 22 years ago. They do a great job, and things are looking good there. Middletown Sports Complex, tons of great stuff going on there.
Outstanding, man. Well, thanks for hanging out with us. Johnny, where can people find you on Twitter over here?
It's just at Flyers Johnny, spelled exactly how you'd imagine.
How about you, secrets? Johnny? Where are you on Instagram? What are your Instagram?
Oh, Instagram. Yeah. Wait, actually?
Yeah, man.
It's where it's at, man.
Yeah, there you go. I need more likes on my photos anyway. It's I don't even remember. It's like at 2 Johnny Man 2.
Yeah. And my Jim Dowd Hockey on Instagram. That's what it's at. I'm in Twitmo. You know what Twitmo is?
It sounds like Gitmo.
Gitmo, yeah, I'm in Twitter.
Yeah, Gitmo.
I got banned from Twitter for life. That's another show.
You got banned for life? Did you get banned for life, Jim?
That's a whole nother show.
What did you do?
Yeah, we got to have you back on to talk about this. All right.
I want to know now.
I can't tell you. That's all good. But yeah, Jim Dowd Hockey on Instagram. It's all hockey stuff, all positive stuff. You know what I mean? It's all about helping kids. That's what it's all about right now. You know what I mean? I'm ecstatic, as you can see, that my boys are doing what they're doing. And, Absolutely. I'm a true believer. One person could change your life forever,
Absolutely.
And now it doesn't matter whether back in the day, I'm 52 years old. If you were from Minnesota, Massachusetts, Chicago, or Michigan, they didn't even look at you. Now it doesn't matter where you're from. It's great. There's kids making it from all different states. There's more and more kids coming out of the tri-state area here, especially New Jersey. I'm going to have a whole list on my jimdowdhockey.com every week. All the guys that are from New Jersey that are in the NHL, that are in the AHL, that are playing Division I hockey, just so
with you, man.
Yeah, just so people could see, that it's not easy, but you can do it.
There you go.
Absolutely.
I don't know about. I mean, we're looking forward to that website, so hopefully we get to see it soon.
Definitely.
And yeah, we'll end the episode on this note. Everybody, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Jim, thanks once again for hanging out with us, man. It's always a pleasure hanging out with you. Always good talking to you.
Yep. Thanks, guys, man. Nice to meet you, Johnny.
Yeah, nice meeting you as well.
All right, guys.
All right.
Thanks.
Okay, guys. Till next week.
Take care.